Hello, MRE families. It's Mrs. Kalita. As parents and counselors, Mrs. Mahar and I understand that trying to juggle your child's schoolwork on top of all the other commitments and responsibilities right now can be very trying. We are hearing that one of the biggest obstacles to student learning at this time is student motivation. So we put together some tips and techniques that you may find useful in helping your child with their school engagement and persistence with learning. Please keep in mind that these are suggestions, as we realize that each child will respond differently to each technique and that they respond differently to you than they do to their teachers. Our hope is that you find the following techniques helpful and not too overwhelming.
Hi, this is Amy Mahar, one of the school counselors working with Rachel Kalita, and I just wanted to share with you some tips about creating a workspace that might help. So every student certainly needs a spot to work that works for them and hopefully works for you too. And just to keep in mind that spaces can be different every single day. They can be the same if repetition and routine is more important. But you want to find something that works for your student. At school, they have the opportunity to work at their desks, on the floor, in cubbies, and sometimes providing those options are important. So, just throwing some ideas out there. I wanted to share with you some pictures. So, certainly, one option is working at a desk or in a quiet space. Sometimes students need more opportunities to be able to focus without a lot of distraction around them. Another option certainly is a shared area. Could be a central location at a table, somewhere where you can kind of oversee and hear what's going on if your student isn't quite as independent yet. Another option, certainly laying on the floor. It might not be the workspace that we're used to as adults, but for kids, they need to move and have breaks, and different seating options are important. Could be finding a comfy place to work, whether that's sitting in the bed with a clipboard, or sitting on the couch with a clipboard. All of that could work. The other thing, get some fresh air. Certainly, with the weather changing, I've been working outside some more too. So, if you have the option to be able to do some work outside and get that fresh, bright air, that could be super helpful. Another option too is teaching someone. They don't have their classmates to talk to every day and learn together, but certainly you can also bring a friend, which might be a stuffed animal of some sort or a Lego man. It doesn't much matter. Whatever works where a student could teach um, a peer, the stuffed animal, that would be great. And also, certainly traveling anywhere. If you have some kind of organizational system where the student can just keep all their stuff in one spot, even if that's just a Tupperware container or a laundry basket, that way all their stuff is together in one place and it can travel with them. So we realize that without a doubt, families have a lot of different things going on that can make student motivation and engagement very difficult to do. We know these are some simple tips, but they might work and they might not. Just please let us know if you do want to talk about any more information or share your family situation. We very much care and we very much want to be able to help, but we also don't want to overwhelm. Okay, thanks so much. Take care.
Each student needs a varying amount of adult involvement to initiate assignments, stay engaged with them, and complete them. At the elementary school level, this is not a step to skip. The part of their brain that's responsible for all this planning and organizing doesn't fully develop until the mid-20s. Luckily, it grows with routines, the strategies we teach, practice, and a lot of patience. So remember that even though you may be putting in a lot more time at the beginning of the week or even the beginning of the day, it will pay off. Here's what it might look and sound like. First, you'll want to sit with your student at their workspace in front of their device or their paper and talk through and read aloud the general overview for the week or for the day. So let's see, what do you have today? What is there a theme? Ooh, cool, sports. You love sports. That'll be fun for you. Then just start to focus on the assignments. Okay, what do you think we need to do today? All right, tell me what you have to do in reading, in math, writing, science. Okay, now we have an idea of what to do today. What subject do you want to start with? Student choice is very helpful and really important to give them some sense of control. Once your child has chosen what they want to do, start the task with them. Okay, so let's see. Over here. All right, let's bring this up. Okay, what are you going to do first? And what do we need to click on? Is there a rubric that will help us? And do you know where you're going to turn in your work? Awesome. Okay. If your child has difficulty even coming and sitting down to start the work with you, try and engage them with some other activity that will get them at least into their work area. Maybe that's playing cards, doing a puzzle, some coloring, and then when they're done with that, you can roll into the learning. All right, let's finish this last piece here. Why don't you put that in and then we can start your work. It looks like you're in the green zone and ready to go. Once your child has started their work, it's really important to check in with them. How often those check-ins will be depend on the child. Some kids will need check-ins after every problem. Some kids will need check-ins after every assignment. Some kids will need check-ins just periodically. Some kids we find too need to know the exact time of when you're going to check in. It might look like something like this. Okay, you're started. You're doing awesome. I'm going to be back at 10, which is in about 10 minutes. And how many problems do you think you can have done by then? 4? Great. Let's see if you can do that. You're doing great. Finally, remember to praise your child's effort. That's really what's the most important. Leave the feedback to the teachers. As long as they're trying their best and attempting the problems, they're doing a great job. Wow, great work. I love how you tried all the problems. I can't wait to hear what your teacher feedback is. She'll see that you really tried hard. Nice job. We realize that learning looks different in every household and that some of these tips and techniques may not work for all students. So if your child is struggling, please reach out to your classroom teacher, Mr. O'Shea, Mr. Blanchard, or one of the counselors, Mrs. Mahar and myself, as we're here to help and support you during this time.
Hi, it's Amy Mahar. I just wanted to check back in and share some more tips to help with remote learning. And we're going to focus on schedules, checklists, and breaks. So this is a PowerPoint presentation I made mostly to keep myself being able to talk during it. This is definitely something that is different for me to do. So let's get to the first slide. So if you think about it, when your students in school, there are schedules on the whiteboard. Teachers will take an activity and divide it up into steps and write those steps down on the whiteboard. The kids have a lot of structure during their day. And as you'll see on the right of the screen, this is just an example of a checklist that's also a schedule, and it's done in a picture format, which is really good for young students. But what I'll show you in the next couple of slides is actually some other versions too. And I should mention too that it's not uncommon for students to actually need a lot of reminders to check their schedules and checklists. So just because we do one doesn't mean they're going to follow it from beginning to end all on their own. But they can be shown in pictures. As you can see on the right of the screen, you can just certainly list and write in the series of events. There's a place to put a check mark. It is very satisfying to actually check things off. And one thing that'll really be helpful too is when you know what your steps are during the day and break those down with your student, have them order it. If they have some input into ordering what they're going to do during the day and actually embed some fun and rewarding activities in there and breaks, that's going to help them be more engaged and hopefully pick away at everything bit by bit. That is going to be a bit helpful. The next slide is our best friend, the Post-it note. I live by Post-it notes. They are my hard drive, my memory. I love them. So you can use a Post-it just to break something apart, like no more than 3 to 5 steps on each, where read the article, answer the question, submit work, and then get a new Post-it for a new activity. You can keep going and doing that throughout the day with the Post-it notes. Some students need something really simple, like first, next, and then. First we're going to start with reading the directions. Next, we're going to do problems 1 through 5. Then we're going to take a break. So it's just something, again, setting up a short 3-step piece. This is something that we'll attach. This is something that I created to help if you want to use. Over here is basically a morning schedule. It's kind of left open for you to create and use yourself. I can send it as a Word document or a PDF where you can cut and paste what you would like. But basically, there's a section for time. Times don't have to be exact. We'd like to say to the kids, ish, like at 1-ish, you're going to do this. At 1:30-ish, you're going to do that. Um, and I have a morning version and I have an afternoon and evening version because some students have a lot going on during the day. And it depends on, parents' workload and schedules too. So having a morning one and an afternoon and evening schedule might be easier. And I also have a category too, just as completed, right? Like I said, it's very satisfying to see things checked off. Um, the other piece too I added on the third and fourth pages of the Word document that I made is I made possible school activities, just a list of them with some of the picture icons next to it. So if you want to just cut and paste and put it into the activity, or literally if you want to print it and cut these out and then tape them or lay them onto the list, that's fine too. I also included some possible home activities. Some kids need to actually have a list in terms of what does get ready look like. It's eating breakfast, it's brushing your teeth, it's getting dressed. They might even have that written down. And I put in a whole bunch of spots for taking brain breaks, play breaks. Breaks are something that's really important too. So, as we said earlier in another video, that basically the part of your child's brain that's responsible for planning and trying to get through all this stuff isn't fully developed until their mid-20s. And even during stress, part of their brain may actually turn off and not function as well. It really can impact memory when kids are stressed when they're working. So, we might need to go beyond setting up workspaces and verbal planning. And actually work on some other things like schedules and checklists, taking breaks, and positive reinforcement.
Hi, it's Mrs. Kalita. Mrs. Mahar and I wanted to highlight the next step, which is positive reinforcement, which in essence is external motivation. When we look at students and people in general, a lot of us need more than just the internal satisfaction of completing their work in order to engage. And when we look at external motivation, we find that it can help students not only engage in their work, but do their best and complete their work. So start, complete, and do their best. And when we look at adults, we still get externally motivated. You might get a paycheck for doing your work, or you might get bonuses for selling a certain quantity. Sometimes I make a little deal with myself if I don't want to do some sort of chore, like maybe if I fold the laundry, I get to watch a TV show while I'm doing it. Something like that pushes me to want to do it rather than just the feeling of, oh, it's done. There are different types of positive reinforcement, and the one that we want to focus on the most is praise. Praise is really important with all people, but especially with kids. And when we talk about praise, we want to praise the process and not the outcome. So we're going to be praising the students' efforts, their attempts at work, and when they used a tool or strategy, especially if they got stuck or they weren't quite sure how to solve a problem and they went and found the answer. That is a wonderful thing to praise. The thing is that we want to focus on perseverance, using tools and strategies, determination, asking for help, the time and effort that students place on their work, and accepting feedback, because these are the attributes that lead to success and the ones that we want to grow with children. Now, beyond praise, you can also earn something. We talk about a carrot or a toy or a reward. And it doesn't have to be something big. It could be something simple like getting a sticker or a star or a check or coloring in a picture or a part of the picture that can help motivate students. Some students might need a little bit more, though. They might need to earn time for fun and rewarding activities, such as playing a special game or getting to pick out the game or pick out dinner or having movie night, earning screen time or time with the device. I know that my older children, this is one that I use a lot because in order for them to earn their device, they have to finish their homework. So in essence, their reward is some set screen time to do their schoolwork and to give their best effort. And it also could be earning a preferred toy or item like Legos. And sometimes if it can be very motivating if your child wants something new, you can use a certain amount, a quantity of checks that they have to earn in order to purchase this item. Students can also just earn breaks or escapes from work. Sometimes that can be a positive reinforcement. For example, after you finish this math sheet, why don't you take a 10-minute break and go, ride your bike or whatnot. Just some helpful hints when you're thinking about these positive reinforcements is to include your child in the process of what they're going to earn and how they want to earn it. So give them some structured choices. It has to be within the guidelines of what works for your family. But when they're involved in the process, you're going to find that they're a lot more engaged and motivated to want to earn whatever it is they're earning. The other piece is to be consistent. You need to be consistent on a daily basis, or these will not work, because then the student will not feel like, hey, if I do this, I'm not going to get what we agreed upon. So it's really important to follow your word and to be consistent with these plans. Third, keep it simple. These don't have to be intricate, and you'll see in some of my examples, they can be really simple. Start with the simple, because if it's not working, you're going to need to change it up, and you want to leave some room to be able to add some things to it if you need to. Here are some examples of plans that you may find or can create that will help you. The first one is a simple either sticker, or you could put little anchors in. It's a pirate trying to get to the ship. It could be that, let's do our work, and for every subject, you're going to earn an anchor, and at the end, you can earn some screen time. The second one would be more helpful, I think, for older children, because it has the goal written on it, as well as the reward for a reminder of what they are earning, and then they can track their progress as they go. The final one is something that you can create where you list all of the tasks for the week, and then students will earn varying amounts of stars depending how they do, and those stars can be traded in for different rewards. So hopefully you'll find some of these very helpful.
All right, so breaks are really important. During the day, our students, they move around so much. Even though recess may not seem like a lot of time, they are up and moving from the carpet to their desk down the hall. And they take their own breaks during the day, going to the bathroom, sharpening their pencils again, and then blowing their nose, and then starting to talk with another student. They take breaks. They're always on the move. But they're really beneficial. First of all, when you take a break, it improves your attentiveness. The child's ability to attend, just a general rule of thumb, is about in minutes the same as their age. So that's not a lot of time. And certainly on-task behavior declines once you get beyond about 10 minutes at a time. So don't be surprised when they are getting up and getting squirmy. Breaks help memory, which is really great. You need to kind of have a break to reboot your brain. Stepping away from it actually helps get that information deeper into the brain, into long-term memory. So they're okay if you're taking them. 3 and 4, I just want to combine together, because not only do breaks boost learning productivity and they reduce the potential for disruptive behavior, they also help reduce stress. It is totally okay if you're at the point where you do need to take a break and just want to say, let's put this in a do another time bin or a let it go bin. It is okay to let your assignments go if you need to. Your relationship with your child is the most important, as long as mental health for everyone that's involved.
Hi, Mrs. Nahar and I just wanted to highlight the final point, which is that right now we all need to be adjusting our expectations, especially when it comes to our students and children. Your child's tolerance and availability to learn right now is going to fluctuate from day to day. There may be some days where they're highly motivated and independent, getting their work done, and there may be other days where they really need a lot of support, and maybe they're doing everything they can to avoid their schoolwork. And we're hoping that some of these tips and techniques may be beneficial, especially on those difficult days. Again, we want to highlight, though, that we understand that your child's mental and physical health is the top priority right now, and that children are being exposed to a new learning process, and that can be very stressful for them and for you. So, final note, remember that mistakes are okay, and in fact, they help the brain to grow and learn. If you would like any more information or assistance with these ideas, please reach out to us at the names and addresses listed below. If you find that you don't have the time, tools, or resources to support your child the way you would like to, also reach out to us. Teachers, support staff, and administration are here to help and listen.